Happy lunch hour, guys. All right, so I want to kind of continue what I was talking about here in the mid-morning video about next level prepping. And actually, a couple of you brought it up in the comments, and it was about letting people into your AO. All right, eventually what's going to happen is you're probably going to have a mag of 40, 50, 60 people, and you may not know them all that well. Chances are you do, and if you use the points that I made this morning, maybe that will work. Now, of course, prepping ahead of time for a mag uniform is one thing. When you're adding people, chances are they're not going to be able to have it, so you're going to have something else. Now, guys mentioned armbands and things like that, and while that's all fine and dandy, a piece of yellow tape on your arm isn't exactly effective. Okay, oh gee, the color of the armband today is going to be blue, or the color of the armband today is going to be green. All right, I'll reference you all to the movie The Dirty Dozen, if you remember that one. Gee, how rough was it for those guys when they were going through that test? They just switched their armbands from red to blue and nobody paid any attention to them. It's like, oh, they're the right people. Okay, so don't be lulled into a false sense of security on something like that. It's got to be something creative. Somebody had mentioned there too that they were a seamstress, and to make something that would be very hard to replicate, there's a good idea. I mean, if you've got an armband that's pink with bunnies and teddy bears on it from baby clothes or something, there's a good one. That one's not going to be something somebody's going to be able to replicate, so think about that. But so the next point I wanted to bring up to everybody is challenge and password. And we all know this, okay? We played this game when we were kids. You had your little fort or whatever it was, and you yelled down to them, you go, banana, and they go, orange. And you go, oh, okay, come on up. The problem with that in real life is that doesn't work, okay? What if there's a bad guy 50 feet away hiding in his ghillie suit watching what you're doing? And you go, banana, and they go, orange. Okay, come on up. And so now he knows, hey, their password today is orange, or their challenge and password is banana orange. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to make it that simple. Then you go into like the code talking of the movie Red Dawn, everybody's favorite one. John has a big mustache. This is going to be rough. Let me see if I can possibly guess what the key word is in that. Okay. Something more effective is when you go, as somebody comes up, John has a big mustache. He also parts his hair to the left side, and has cavities in his lower molars. Oh, really? Because I also heard he's got an ear infection, a broken shoulder, and bum knees. What's the challenge word? What's the password? You have no idea. You just gave, 5 or 6 nouns in each one of them? How many combinations there could be between all of that? What if the password is, or the challenge word is actually John, and the password is knees? Maybe. There's so many combinations in there, you're not going to guess it. If anybody's listening off to the side, they don't know. Because the next time somebody comes up, you may go, John's got a big nose, he's really buff, has a 6-pack, size 12 shoes, and, parts his hair to the side. Okay, the guy was listening. It's like, well, John and part and hair and whatever it would be. So you change it up so nobody can figure it out, but you still keep some of the same elements, so you're confusing anybody that can listen. These are little things that you need to do there, okay? I'll give you another one. Let's say you are under siege, if you will, and communication is screaming back and forth at each other, okay? And if I'm yelling at somebody, sound doesn't just go through a straw. Obviously, it goes everywhere. I don't want to go and say, rally back at headquarters, rally back at Joe's house, whatever it is, back off to here. Nope. Okay, because you're telling them exactly where you're going. I mean, even if chances are, if they're attacking you, they know where headquarters is. They might not know which house is Joe's, but they now know you're going to a house. All right. So you want to check that off as everybody to point 3. Okay. And you change those points every day. Maybe it's on a rotational basis or whatever, or you make it, point orange, point blue, something like that. Make it something like that. So you are, again, hiding in plain sight. If I give that challenge and password to a room full of people, maybe somebody gets lucky enough and guesses it right. If I say, everybody rally at point orange, maybe somebody guesses and gets it right. We're all going back to point orange. Chances are we can see where everybody else is going. Now we can watch, and now we can get on the offensive. Hey, they went over to Joe's house. That wasn't point orange, and now we know there's 3 guys over there. Let's send a couple to take them out. Okay. These are the types of things that you need to think about. And I know the subject I seem to be talking about today is for when Antifa or the Chinese or the UN come storming, for a real full-blown SHTF situation. But that's very, very, very possible at this point. Okay? Think about Seattle, Portland, Minneapolis, Kenosha, whatever, when you had people storming down the streets throwing Molotov cocktails, all right, and you're trying to get away with your family or whatever. And how many stories you read about people not knowing where their kids were, or their wife was, or their mother was, or their father was, or their husband was, or something like that, because they didn't have anything set up ahead of time. I mean, perfect example, guys. Anybody that's ever had kids has had a fire drill in their house. And you all have, you better have, okay, had a rallying point. Fire ever happens in the middle of the night, what do you tell your kids? Everybody meet out on the street at the mailbox. That is where we meet. You planned that ahead of time. So when something goes crazy and there is chaos in the air and people don't know what's going on, you knew where to go and how you could keep track of your people. It's no different in a military type SHTF situation. Granted, your house burning down is a SHTF situation. Shit just hit the fan, okay? And you do it for that. Why aren't you planning for something like that with your loved ones, even if they aren't preppers? Hey, I'm going to tell you this. There's 3 points, red, yellow, and green. And if something happens, I'm going to tell you, red means go to the garage, yellow means go to the shed, green means go to the neighbors, whatever would be something. And at least stick that in their head a few times. Because even if they don't put any faith into anything you're doing, the day this all happens and you tell them, go to point yellow, all of a sudden they're going to remember and go, I know where to go, and thank God I know that. Yeah, don't you love the topics I'm getting into? That's what's going on. Have a good Friday afternoon. That's probably it for me today, unless the world blows up. I'll see you tomorrow. Pinball out.